Hey guys, welcome back. My internet wasn't working earlier today, so I had a little bit of a mental breakdown because I had a lot of work to do. My internet wasn't working, so if any of you are dealing with that or dealt with that today, sorry about that. It stinks when your internet goes out. Okay, so we did volume before our 2-week break, and then we reviewed it again last week. We are going to move on to surface area. So we're still talking about prisms and cylinders and pyramids and cones, but instead of finding the volume of those things, we're going to find the surface area. So here is a prism. Okay, it's macaroni and cheese box. And what I want you to understand about surface area is literally finding the area of each surface and then adding them all together. So this box has 6 sides. Guys, you need to keep him quiet. Okay, so it has a top, a bottom, a left side, a right side, a front, and a back. So it has 6 sides. If you find the area of all 6 of those sides and add them together, then you have found the surface area. Now, instead of taking like the time to break this down into 6 sides, we're going to come up with a formula that'll work, and I'll just make it go a lot faster. Okay, so let me show you when I cut this box so that I could kind of unfold it. Okay, and there's the whole thing. All right, so basically what we have is we have the top and the bottom, which we call bases. Okay, and then all of these other sides, the front, the back, left side and right side, those are called lateral faces. And if you notice, when we unwrap the box, all 4 of those lateral faces just become one big rectangle. Okay, one big rectangle. How do you find the area of a rectangle? You do base times height, or length times width. So to find the area of this big rectangle, okay, we're going to take the base times the height. Call me Vanna White, okay? The base times the height, or the length times the width, okay? When we do that, we will have found all 4 of our lateral faces. So again, left side, right side, front, and back. We're going to find all of those at the same time because it's really just one big rectangle. Okay, now the base of this rectangle, when your box is all put back together, that is the perimeter of the box. Again, the length or the base of the rectangle is the perimeter around our box. Okay, so to find the area of this big rectangle, we're going to take the perimeter of the box times the height of the box. Okay, and then we'll add on our 2 bases. Okay, so that's what the formula is going to look like, and we'll get to that here in just a second. Okay, all right, so few things that we're going to look at here. I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller. Maybe. Come on. All right, so here are our notes. Okay, you're going to fill these out with me. It says to find the area of a 3-dimensional figure, and we should really say to find the surface area of a 3-dimensional figure, find the sum of the areas of all of the surfaces of the figure. So we said basically there were 6 sides to that box. You take the area of all 6 sides and add them together, that gives you the surface area. Okay, but instead of having to do like 6 separate problems, we can do this a lot faster by using a formula. And we just talked about that formula. We'll write that down here in just a minute. Okay, so first of all, let's remember that a prism is a polyhedron with 2 congruent parallel faces called bases. So prisms have 2 bases, and they're parallel to each other. So this pentagon on the top here, that's a base, and this pentagon on the bottom here, that's a base. And again, those are bases because they're parallel to each other. They're parallel to each other. They're bases, okay? And then over here, the bases are this triangle and this triangle. Okay, because again, bases have to be parallel to each other. Now, the bases will not always be the top and the bottom, okay? We're gonna look at this shape right here. This is a cylinder, and the bases are not the top and the bottom, okay? The bases are on the left side and the right side, because the cylinder is like laying down on its side. Bases have to be parallel to each other. Sometimes that'll be top and bottom, sometimes that'll be front and back, sometimes that'll be left and right. Just kind of depends on if your shape is standing up or laying down, okay? All right. So, surface area. Sometimes we will abbreviate that with SA. And again, that's just the sum of the lateral area and the two bases. Now, what is lateral area? Lateral area is that part that we unfolded. It wasn't the top and the bottom, those are the bases. It was all of the other sides, the other four sides that we unrolled and made one big rectangle. Those are the lateral faces, and you can see that up here on the picture. The sides that are not parallel to each other, we call those lateral faces. And they're always rectangles, okay? So this is a rectangle, okay? Back here we have a rectangle, over here we have a rectangle. Those are lateral faces. They are not bases, okay? So lateral area is the sum of the areas of all the lateral faces. Okay, and we abbreviate that with LA. And then surface area is that lateral area plus the bases, okay? So surface area is everything added together. Okay, so here is our formula for surface area. Surface area is PH plus 2B. Again, P is for perimeter, H is for height, and capital B, we talked about this with volume, capital B is area of the base. Area of the base, okay? So if your base is a pentagon, you'll have to find the area of that pentagon. You're not gonna find it on your shape, you're gonna have to calculate it. If your base is a triangle, you're gonna find the area of the triangle, okay? So capital B is something you're gonna have to calculate. You're finding the area of the base. Now let's try two problems, okay? So first thing I'm gonna do, it says, what is the surface area of the prism? The first thing I'm gonna do is write down my surface area formula. Surface area equals PH plus 2B, okay? Most of that is pretty easy. The only hard part is the capital B. Again, you have to remember that's area of the base. So let's highlight our bases. Here's the bottom and the top, which are parallel to each other. Technically on this box, the top and the bottom could be your bases, or the left and the right could be your bases, or the front and the back could be your bases. You really get to choose. I just pick top and bottom because it makes the most sense, okay? So these are our bases. They are rectangles. How do I find the area of a rectangle? I do base times height, or another way of saying that is length times width, okay? All right, so let's fill in our perimeter, our height, and our capital B. So the perimeter of this box, again, perimeter of a box, here's a box, perimeter of the box is the distance around, okay? So it'll be 4 plus 3, okay, if this part is 4, this part back here is 4, so plus another 4, and then plus another 3. 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3, okay? That is 14. So our perimeter is 14 centimeters. That's our perimeter, okay? Our height, oh shoot. Let me see here. I'm gonna have to pause. Froze. Okay, I think I'm back. All right, so I was explaining the perimeter of this box. So the perimeter of the box is 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3. Okay, so 14 centimeters. The height of the box is 5. okay? And then capital B is the area of this base, the area of this rectangle. And to find the area of a rectangle, you take the length of the rectangle times the width of the rectangle. So length 4 times width 3. Okay, so 14 times 5, that's 70 centimeters squared, plus over here, 4 times 3 is 12, and then 12 times 2 is 24. Okay, and if I have 70 centimeters squared plus 24 centimeters squared, that is 94 centimeters squared. So that is the surface area of this prism, okay? It is all of the areas added together, the top, the bottom, the front, the back, the left, and the right. All of that added together is 94. Instead of doing 6 different areas and then adding them all together, I used this formula, which is gonna be a little bit quicker and easier, okay? All right, we're gonna do the same thing on number 2. We're gonna write down our surface area formula, PH plus 2B. All right, so let's start with perimeter. Perimeter is the, well, first of all, let's mark our bases. This is our base, and this is our base, because bases have to be parallel to each other, okay? And I'm just gonna tell you that this is 5 for this length here. I could have figured that out by doing the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and figured out that this was 5. But we're gonna try to save you guys a little bit of work. And I think on the homework, we just ended up giving this to you instead of having you figure it out, okay? So we'll just pretend that we already knew that this was 5. If you didn't know it, you could use the Pythagorean theorem to find it. Okay, so the perimeter is perimeter around the base, okay? So perimeter around our shape, 3 plus 5 plus 4. 3 plus 5 plus 4. So our perimeter is 12. Okay. Our height, what is the height of the prism? It is 6. Okay, and then to find the area of the base, our base is a triangle, and to find the area of a triangle, you do 1/2 base times height of the triangle. Okay, so we're gonna do 1/2 base times height of the triangle. So kind of try to ignore the rest of the shape. Just look at the triangle. What's the base of the triangle and what's the height of the triangle? Now remember, base and height have to make a right angle. So it's the 3 and the 4. This is the base of the triangle. This is the height of the triangle. So 3 times 4. Okay, 12 times 6, that is 72 centimeters squared. Okay, over here, the 2 and the 1/2 will cancel out, and 3 times 4 is just 12. Okay, this is centimeters times centimeters, so centimeters squared. And then we can add that together. We get 84 centimeters squared. Okay, now we're gonna move on to cylinders, and I think cylinders are actually a little bit easier, okay? So turn over to the next page. Again, you're gonna imagine a cylinder. We can unwrap it. So think of like a toilet paper roll or a paper towel roll. You could unwrap it, okay? And you would get one big rectangle. And then you would also have like the top and the bottom. A toilet paper roll doesn't have a top and a bottom, but cylinders are considered to have a top and a bottom, okay? 2 bases. And again, they're not always on top and bottom. Sometimes they're on the left and the right, okay? But those are your bases. So we need to find the surface, or yeah, the area of this rectangle, okay? It's gonna be base times height, or length times width, okay? You think about this length of this rectangle, when it was rolled back up, okay, when it was a cylinder, that was the circumference. That was the distance around the cylinder, okay? So this is your circumference, and this is your height, okay? And then you're gonna add on the area of the bases. So pi r squared plus another pi r squared. So here is your surface area formula. okay? It is circumference times height, so 2 pi RH times height, plus add on 2 bases. And our bases this time are always going to be circles, and you always find the area of a circle by doing pi r squared. So this is your surface area formula. R is for radius, and H is for height, of course. Okay. Let's try 2 examples. So surface area equals 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. Let's fill in our information. So what is the radius of the cylinder? The radius goes from center to edge. The radius is 3 centimeters. Okay, what's the height of the cylinder? 5 centimeters. Okay, and then again, we fill in our radius and square it. Okay, all right, so 3 times 5 is 15. Multiply that by 2, you get 30 pi centimeters squared, plus here 3 squared is 9, and then we have to multiply that by 2. We get 18 pi centimeters squared. And then you can add those both together. 30 pi plus 18 pi means you have 48 pi. That's your exact answer. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing for number 2. So for number 2, surface area formula is pH. Oh, no, it isn't. Sorry. I was thinking of my prism. Sorry, it is 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. We're just following the formula. Okay. Our radius this time, it looks like the entire diameter is 10, so the radius would be 5. And then your height, okay, think about this. Height goes from base to base. Just like you have a height, maybe you're 6 feet tall, okay? Even if you're laying down in bed, you're still 6 feet tall, okay? So it's like this cylinder is laying down. What's its height? 12 meters. Okay, and let's plug in our radius again. Okay, so 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 12 is 120. There's a pi with it. Meters times meters is meters squared. Okay, here this is 25 times 2, or 50 pi meters squared. And then we can add those two together. 120 pi plus 50 pi is 170 pi meters squared. Okay? All right, so that concludes the notes for today. We are going to skip this, okay? We'll do something similar to that tomorrow, but it's too much for one day, all right? Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about, which is what if I don't ask you to find surface area, I just ask you to find lateral area. So again, lateral area is the area of all of the sides, but not the bases, okay? Not the bases. If you are supposed to find lateral area, that's everything except for the bases. So here, if I want lateral area, that's just this first part. It's not adding on the 2 bases. So if I ask for lateral area, it's just this first part, the 14 times the 5, so 70, okay? Same thing with cylinders. If I ask you for the lateral area, it's just the first part. It's not adding on the 2 bases. So it's getting rid of all that and just keeping the first part. That's the lateral area, okay? So that would be 30 pi. Okay. Your assignment today, there's 5 problems. The cylinders should be quick and easy, like 30 seconds a piece. And we tried to help you out like we did on this one where you were given 2 sides. We went ahead and gave you that 3rd side, so finding perimeter is a little bit easier and you don't have to do the Pythagorean theorem or anything, okay? Please let me know if you have questions. Remember, I'll be on Zoom at 2:30 to help you out. So if you have problems you want me to help you with, I'd be happy to do that. Just hop on Zoom at 2:30, or you can text me another time that works for you. Thanks.